Welcome to Unilad Adventure. If you're going to Bali, then you have to check out Ubud. There's so much to do here, from exploring Balinese temples to discovering waterfalls and getting up close and personal with nature. So here's our guide to 24 hours in Ubud. First off, it's highly recommended that you get a driver. Local drivers will usually charge around 500,000 IDR for the whole day, which is about 28 British pounds or 37 US dollars. The right driver can make or break your trip, so communicate with them first and make sure they'll take you exactly where you want to go. Our driver was called Diwa and we couldn't have asked for a better guide. He's not paying us, but there's a link to his Facebook in the description if you're interested. Use him at your own discretion. Now, you'll have to forgive me if I mispronounce anything in this video, but I'm going to give it my best shot. We recommend you start your day with Tugunungun Waterfall. This is a beautiful and powerful waterfall, and you'll get a spectacular view of it on your approach from above. In summer, you'll see beautiful clear waters, but if you're going towards the winter, be aware that the water starts to go brown like it is in these images around October time. This is because of increased amounts of rainfall causing mud to run into the river. It's an extremely well-known spot, so going early will help you avoid some of the crowds that can appear later in the day. There's an extremely small entry fee to pay for most of the places in this video, but it's usually only 10 to 15,000 IDR, which is about 55 pence or 77 cents per person. Next, head over to Goa Gajar, or as it's more commonly named, the Elephant Cave. Some say the demonic faces here are to warn off evil spirits and keep bad people away. The cave is over 1,000 years old and houses a shrine to the Hindu Holy Trinity, Brahma, Shiva and Vishnu, the gods of creation, preservation and destruction. There's more than just the cave here as well. The temple is huge. It's built on different levels and features beautiful architecture surrounded by stunning nature. It's important to remember that temples are holy places and the culture has to be respected whenever you visit. All temples in Bali will require you to cover your legs. When you arrive at the more popular temples, there'll be many locals trying to sell you a sarong, but usually one is rented to you for free after you've paid the small entry fee we mentioned earlier. These ones aren't as pretty though, so if you're fashion conscious or you're trying to get some snaps for your Instagram, it might be worth bringing your own. Also, you're not allowed to enter the temples if you're bleeding, which means if you're a girl and it's that time of the month, then you might have to find something else to do. After visiting Goa Gajar, it's probably a good time to grab some lunch. Head to a traditional Balinese restaurant and refuel with some local cuisine. Food is super cheap in Bali as well, so you can easily eat for around £4 or $5 per person. Then it's a good time to go to Gunung Kawai Sebatu, or the Water Temple. Here they worship Vishnu, who is said to rule over water. The temple has been built on a natural spring, so you'll see bathing pools and koi ponds all around you. It's arguably one of the most beautiful temples in Ubud. If you come on a full moon, you'll even get to see locals bathing in the holy waters. It's surrounded on 3 sides by rock faces, so it feels very secluded and peaceful here. We found it was very quiet and it almost felt like we had the whole place to ourselves. The next stop on our list is probably the most iconic and picturesque location, maybe in all of Bali. These are the Tegelalang rice terraces. As amazing as they look on camera, they're even more impressive in the flesh. The views here are stunning and there's a new photo opportunity around every corner. Rice is a huge part of the Balinese culture and it's not uncommon for them to eat it up to 3 times a day. So it's really interesting to walk up and down the different levels and learn about the local farming culture. A good guide will give you a real insight into the lifestyle of the rice farmers and what it's like for the locals who work in this tough trade. Finally, we recommend wrapping up your day with a visit to the monkey forest. It's a perfect way to get an up-close and personal look at Bali's wildlife. But be careful because they can get a little aggressive at times and they'll definitely try to take things from you, so it's a good tip to leave any valuables away from this part of the trip. You'll see them feeding on sweet potatoes, jumping through the trees, or sometimes just completely passed out on a handrail. One of the biggest surprises here was how beautiful the forest was regardless of the monkeys. It's covered in incredible nature and ancient temples, so it really feels like you've walked straight into a scene from the Jungle Book. Honestly, you could have an amazing time just walking around and taking all of this in alone, so having the monkeys there just tops it off and makes it a really unique, fun experience. Well, that's all we have time for on this one, but remember, this itinerary is ram-packed, and whilst you can definitely get it all done in one day, personally I'd recommend booking yourself at least a couple of days in Ubud and taking things at a nicer pace. Drop your recommendations for Ubud and Bali in the comments below, and hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit subscribe for more of the best travel tips and videos from around the world weekly.